So I'm gonna get started. And this page, the way I approach my art is I kind of go into it. It depends. First of all, if I'm creating a course, then I have a prompt that I'm working with, a prompt that I've created that I think would be beneficial to the women I'm working with, and then I go through the process of going through the prompt just like they will. So that's one way. Then sometimes I create just for myself, and I may be feeling something I want to work through. I may be feeling down and I need to distress, and so I'll use it as a way to relax. I may have something that is weighing me down, or that I have some feelings and I haven't been able to process them, or I can't figure out what's really going on, so I may use the art page for that. And that's something that is really powerful for me, is being able to, let's say I feel frustrated today, and go to the art journal page with that frustration and kind of art it out. And what happens is, when you let yourself go and you let yourself just paint and do whatever, without having too much of a plan or trying to be perfect, you end up finding out more about what's really going on with you through the art. If you're really good at looking at your art at the end of it and really seeing the meaning that is there. And that's something I teach in my courses, as I help women to not only let themselves go and go into the art page and just see what happens. That's my mantra. But to then reflect on what's there. You know, what's there after you've created this art page. What is there? What's there for you? What is the message that this page has for you? And I think that's really important. So that's something that I do in my own personal, work, in my own personal healing work. So that's basically what I'm going to do on this one, because, for example, today has been, let's see, how do I describe it? It's kind of weird because nothing bad is happening. Like, I know I'm using quotes a lot. Anyway, nothing bad is happening, but I've been really grumpy and feeling emotional, and I think it has a lot to do with that I've had this pain in my head for I think it's 2 months now, and I've had treatment for it, but the treatment didn't work, and I'm in physical therapy and that's not working. And so there's a lot of frustration for me, because if sometimes I get these things, I get these pains, and they travel, and so I end up having a pain somewhere else. Once one pain goes away, then another one comes. So there's a lot of frustration for me around that. So what I would do is I would enter into this page, kind of, asking to release it, asking to know more about it, and then just go. So that's what I'm going to do. Without an agenda, without really knowing what's going to happen, I'm just going to use the tools around me. I'm going to pick out some things that are calling to me right now, colors that are calling to me, textures that are calling to me, and I'm going to let myself go. And at the end of this page, I will come to know more about myself. I will come to know more about what's happening for me. I will feel more relaxed. I will feel more accomplished or more confident, which is usually what happens. There's something that happens from the beginning of the painting to the end. And so I'm going to just go with it and see what happens and let you see what happens. And then I'll talk to you about it at the end. So I'm going to time-lapse the rest, because I'm not really teaching technique now. I'm just playing around. I'm using my art for my own process. And so I personally need to get quiet in order to do that, because I can't fully go into it while talking to you at the same time. So I'm gonna get started. Thanks for listening. I'll be back. guys, so it's the next day after I created this page, and I'm still working on it, but I wanted to get on camera and talk a little bit about the process so far. There are some things I want to add to the page. This is what I've been working on, which you've just seen the video of me creating this at this point. And I created this on a day that I felt really frustrated, and part of my frustration was that I was feeling a lot of pain, and there were some good things happening in my life, but I couldn't really fully take them in or enjoy them because I was in pain. And it's interesting that I created a page that when I look at it, there's a couple of things that come up for me. First of all, the colors are bright, and I really feel that first of all, it was very relaxing to create it. I felt very accomplished afterwards because it's one of my first dark-skinned girls, and it's something that, like, I felt as an artist, like, oh, she came out pretty good, you know, and so I was happy about that. So that was good for me. Since I was feeling such frustration, it was good to feel confidence, which is sort of like an opposite feeling. And I was able to release some of my stress. The colors really made me feel more alive just by looking at them, just by using them. So, but I haven't gotten to the deeper meaning yet of it. And one of the questions I like to ask, which I'm going to do in a few minutes, which is, what is the message this painting has for me? What is this girl, if it's a portrait, or what does this painting have to say to me? Why is it here? Like, I went from a blank page to this, and I'm always fascinated by that because I went into it not really having any idea where I was going. And then this story, it's almost like a story emerges on the page, and it's like, where did that come from, you know? That is fascinating to me, that there can be a blank page and then there can be, you know, a picture, an image, you know, colors, and I'm just fascinated by that. And the same thing with writing as well. Like, there can be, you know, where there was nothing, there can be a whole bunch of words that make sense. So I'm fascinated by that. I'm fascinated by, I'm sorry, I just had like a whole thing full. So I had to cut. I'm fascinated by the whole blank page thing and how something emerges on there, and like you don't even know where that came from, and you weren't even planning it necessarily, or you had like a slight plan and then it goes in a whole nother direction. Like, that's exciting to me. So I really haven't gotten into the deeper meaning of it, like I said. So I want to do that next. I'm gonna sit with the painting a little bit and see what else, sort of like what else it needs and what else it wants. You know, it's almost like it's alive, and like it has a story to tell, and I need to find out what's the rest of the story. The other thing is that, and I don't know if I'm imposing this is the delicate balance of it. It's like, am I imposing a story on it, or is it telling me? Is there something intuitively coming from, you know, the page? Or am I being intuitive and like feeling something from the page? I don't know. You know what? And I don't want to like question it too much or pin it down too much with words, because I think it's really something that comes from the world that I cannot see, and I like that and I trust that. So there is something that has come up for me when I look at her, and it's this sense of my roots and like feeling like she's calling me to my roots. You know, I am a Hispanic woman, and I do consider myself a woman of color, even though I'm not a dark-skinned Puerto Rican. I'm not African American. I do consider myself a woman of color. I am a minority, and there is this part of me that has kind of ignored that side of me, not wanting to be defined by that. You know, I think there's, you know, I never wanted to be defined by that. I know I have an accent. I know you can tell that I'm, you know, of some kind of Spanish descent, you know, and that's fine, but I didn't feel that I needed to like draw attention to it or to really become any kind of advocate around it, or, you know, it was never something that I felt I wanted or needed to do. At the same time, I think in that effort to go away from that, I've gone away from my roots in some sense, and I don't feel as connected to my roots sometimes as I would want to. And so it's kind of nice to create portraits that are different, that are not, that look more like me and more like the people that I, you know, are in my family, and look more like the people that I know who are also Hispanic. And so it's kind of nice to do that. And so I don't know what that's about, because it had nothing to do with my frustration. But it could be some message that was coming through that I needed to hear. So I wanted to mention that. I don't even know if that's going to end up anywhere on that page. But it's something that ended up here in my heart, and that was important. So I'm going to get back to this page and, you know, change my clothes so that I'm not looking too cute while I make a mess. And I'm going to get back and see what happens. And I think that will be the end of the video, so you won't be seeing me again, but thanks for listening. Love you guys. Bye. Okay, so I'm back, and I kept thinking about what I wanted to put here. I wanted more here, and I'm definitely going to write down some words, and I think I'm going to use silver for that. I might use white. I'm not sure yet. Where is my white? Love this. This is Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen. My favorite white marker. So I'm going to probably write down that message that came from this painting so far, which is, you know, something about going back to my roots, or yeah, something about roots. I might just write the word roots. And the reason why I'm choosing these two stencils, and I'm doing it very purposely, one is because this page originated from you know, the feelings of frustration and about not being able to feel fully grateful and take in the good things that were happening. So I kind of want to symbolize that in some way. So this to me is like, it represents like that never-ending circle of gratitude, you know, that never-ending feeling of gratitude, and the never-ending goodness in my life. Even if I don't always notice it, it's there. And then sort of, I like this because it's rain. So sometimes some things rain on that, you know, some feelings rain on that, some frustration may rain on that, pain rains on that, and I forget. So I wanted to kind of symbolize that in some way. So I'm thinking of doing that. I may not use the full circle, or I may. I'm not sure. I'm thinking half. I'm thinking maybe half, and then put this on top. And so what I'm going to do is first think about like what color I would use for the circle. I might still go with that red. Yeah, you know what? I am going to do that. I'm going to go with red and some blue. And the rain will be blue, and this will be red. And then I'm going to leave it alone, because this one runs, so I don't want to put any wet media over that. So I'm going to do that. Let's see. We'll start with this and a makeup sponge. Just going to take a sip of my tea. And let's see how half looks. This is a really nice bright red. It's a deep red actually. just gonna lift that up, but keep it in place. I kind of like that. It's one of those things that unless you like take a picture of it, you're not quite sure how it looks exactly. I'll go around a little bit more. Alright, see, it ends up, I am going to go all around. My arm wants to do that. Okay. So, that's good. And then, I'll take a different one. I really want it faded, so that's why I'm not adding anymore. That's good. Okay. Okay, so that makes me happy. Let's see, where do I want to write something? And I don't always write in my art journal pages. I actually prefer not to, and which kind of takes it out of the art journaling realm. But I don't know, because I'm a writer, I do most of my writing in my regular journals, so I don't really feel like I need to write in my art journals. I actually like to paint in my art journals. I like to create paintings in my art journal. That's just my personal preference. I also am not like great at lettering. It's not that I have bad handwriting, but every time I write in my art journal, I'm never like pleased with it. So that's another reason. And then there's a part of me that feels like I spoiled the painting or something. So I am going to write a couple of words here and there. Excuse me, just taking a sip. And I think I'm going to write the word roots. So now, something that I've been doing, or that I'm starting to do in some of my courses, is that I'm asking a question of the painting. And I did that in the Healing the Mother Wound course, I believe. And I'm going to be adding that to the Truth Project Revised course that starts on Monday. It's the sort of like the processing afterwards, you know, because most of the times we create a painting and we walk away from it and we don't look at it again. And especially if you're doing it for healing purposes, if you're using art to heal, I think it's important to then, you know, maybe a day later or a few hours later, to look at the painting and see if there is a message for you there, if there, you know, how does it make you feel. And I have a whole series of questions that I put in my courses about how to process afterwards. But for right now, I'm just wanting to look at this painting and really think about what message it might have for me in this moment in my life. And one of the things that's coming up for me is that it's okay to be big. It's okay to shine my light. Sometimes I think I find myself being apologetic, or I find, you know, being like I put something out there, or I put myself out there in some way, and I almost like I retreat afterwards, you know, like a turtle, you know, and go back in my shell. When there's this part of me is like, you know, who do you think you are kind of thing, and I get this voice that says that. And I think it's important to shine, and to let yourself shine, and to really allow yourself to be big when you need to be big. And for me, that's who she is. Like, when I look at her, she's like, be big, girl. She has a message for me, and it's like, girl, just shine. Just shine. I see her with her nice, beautiful curly hair, and her beautiful dress, and her bold earrings, and I feel like I'm being told through this painting that I need to stop playing small and I need to shine. And that's how I feel right now when I look at this. When I look at the bold colors in this, I feel like I'm really being called to shine my light a little brighter. So that's the message, and I think, and it may not even have anything to do with what I was feeling before, but there's also other things that I've been feeling, and that's one of them, is this feeling of like I keep playing small because somewhere along the line I decided that it wasn't okay to be seen. Every time I post a piece of art, or I post a quote from my own writing, or I'm showing myself, I'm letting myself be visible, I'm letting you see me, and I think that's so important. And maybe my frustration and the pain that I'm experiencing is part of that. Maybe I'm not shining my light bright enough. Sometimes we have physical manifestations of emotional pain. I think that's really what this painting is telling me. To shine big, and stop playing it small. And I'm willing to hold that message and really begin to live that, and that's where I'm at. So I thank you for going on this journey with me. I know this was a long video. I'm sure it's gonna be long. I haven't fully processed it yet, but I'm sure it's at least 40 minutes. But I wanted to just share my process and share how I use, or one of the ways I use art for healing purposes, or to express a feeling, or to work through a feeling. So I wanted to share that with you, and thank you for watching. Love you guys. Talk to you later.